Arkanos lay shrouded in endless fog, streets empty and silent, the few people moving with tense, fearful steps. 16-year-old Hairo walked alone, a mix of anxiety and restlessness twisting in his chest. Life had always been quiet, ordinary, yet a strange unease always lingered, like something unseen watching. Years ago, creatures called shadows had descended, leaving humans hollow, drained of life. Fear hung over the city like a heavy blanket. Hairo's heart quickened as he remembered the dreams, a blazing blue sword and a whispering voice calling, "Heir of the flame, awaken." The memory sent a thrill of anticipation through him, but also trembling doubt. Could he be ready? One stormy night, a massive shadow rose from the mist, its eyes glowing with dark malice. Terror froze Hairo, his breath caught, chest pounding. The voice inside him roared, "Now awaken, heir of the flame." Heat surged into his palm, shaping a radiant blue blade. Shock, awe, and a flicker of courage filled him. With trembling hands, he swung. The shadow shattered into sparks. Fear still lingered, but beneath it, a growing power and hope awakened. A spark had ignited a seed of strength that would guide him through the coming darkness. The next morning, Hairo awoke restless, his mind swirling with questions and unease. The sword had vanished, leaving only a faint warmth in his hand, a whisper of power he barely understood. Anxiety mixed with curiosity as he walked through the foggy streets, aware of eyes that might be watching him. In the crowded market, a girl in a long black coat approached him without hesitation. Her gaze was sharp, unwavering, and it sent a shiver down his spine. "At last," she said, voice firm yet mysterious. "The heir of the flame has been found." Confusion, fear, and a strange spark of hope collided within him. She introduced herself as Rin, from the ancient guardians of Dawn, who had searched for him for years. Sitting in a quiet corner, she opened an old book full of strange symbols and drawings. Hairo listened, heart pounding. As she spoke of the fire within him, a power meant to cleanse the shadows, but one that also drew them near. The weight of destiny pressed on him, a mix of fear, excitement, and determination bubbling inside. Suddenly, screams pierced the streets. A colossal shadow emerged, more terrifying than before. Terror surged through Hairo, but Rin stood firm, summoning circles of red light that repelled the creature. Heart racing, Hairo realized he could not run. Courage flickered inside him, growing with every pulse. The journey had truly begun, and his emotions, fear, hope, and strength would guide him forward. The air was thick with tension as Hairo followed Rin through the narrow alleys of Arkanos. His heart pounded, a mix of fear and anticipation. Every shadow seemed alive, every whisper of wind a threat. He had survived the first encounter, but doubt gnawed at him. Was he truly ready to wield such power? Rin stopped at a hidden courtyard, her eyes serious. "This is your first trial," she said. Hairo's chest tightened. The trial was not just about strength, she explained, but about mastering his fear and controlling the flame within. Anxiety clashed with determination as he stepped forward, feeling the warmth of the blue fire returning to his palm. A phantom of darkness emerged, larger than any shadow he had faced. The creature's eyes glowed with malice, and Hairo felt terror squeeze his chest. Yet, as he raised the blade, a flicker of courage sparked. Memories of the city's suffering, of innocent lives stolen, filled him with resolve. Each swing of his sword carried fear, hope, and newfound confidence. The phantom shattered, leaving only sparks that faded into the fog. Breathless, Hairo realized something profound. His emotions were not a weakness, but a source of strength. Fear and hope, doubt and courage, they all fueled the power that would define him. Today was only the beginning, and the path ahead promised challenges far greater than this trial. The streets of Arkanos were eerily silent as Hairo and Rin moved cautiously through the fog. Every shadow seemed to slither, every gust of wind a warning. Anxiety gripped Hairo's heart, but beneath it, a spark of determination burned. He was no longer the boy who had trembled at the first shadow he had tasted courage. Yet fear remained, sharpening his senses. Suddenly, a group of shadows emerged from the mist, larger and more aggressive than any he had faced. Hairo's chest tightened, adrenaline flooding through him. Rin whispered urgently, guiding his stance and reminding him to control his emotions. Each shadow's advance sent waves of panic through him, yet the warmth of the blue fire in his palm steadied his trembling hands. Hairo swung his sword, feeling both terror and exhilaration with each strike. Sparks flew as shadows disintegrated, and a fierce smile of triumph crossed his face. Yet he knew this was only a taste of what lay ahead. The city's suffering, the weight of his destiny, pressed upon him, igniting a mixture of fear, hope, and fierce determination. He realized that to protect Arkanos, he must trust both his heart and his blade, learning to turn fear into strength. After the ambush, Hairo and Rin found refuge in a hidden alley. His body ached from battle, heart still racing, but a new clarity began to bloom. He realized that every fear he faced, every spark of panic, could be channeled into his strength. Anxiety mixed with excitement, forming a strange exhilaration he had never felt before. Rin studied him closely. "Your power is not just in the sword," she said gently. "It lives in your emotions, fear, hope, courage. Learn to control them, and you will be unstoppable." Hairo nodded, feeling a surge of determination. The weight of his destiny pressed on him, yet for the first time, it did not crush him. It fueled him. They moved silently through the foggy streets, shadows lurking around every corner. Hairo felt tension in every step, the city itself seeming alive with menace. Yet beneath it, a flicker of hope glowed brighter than ever. He could feel the fire inside him growing, pulsing in rhythm with his heart. When another shadow lunged from the mist, he met it with steady hands and a controlled mind. The creature shattered, leaving only sparks that faded into the fog. Triumph and fear mingled within him, a potent mix that would define the warrior he was becoming. The morning fog hung thick over Arkanos as Hairo and Rin made their way toward the city's outskirts. Every step was heavy with tension, his nerves buzzing with both fear and anticipation. He had survived his first real trials, yet uncertainty gnawed at him. Could he truly control the power that pulsed through him? A figure emerged from the shadows, a tall man with eyes sharp as steel. "I am Kael," he said, voice calm but commanding. "I will train you to master the flame within." Relief and nervousness collided inside Hairo, his heart fluttering with a mix of hope and doubt. Could this stranger truly help him harness his mysterious power? Kael guided Hairo to a secluded courtyard, demonstrating movements and breathing techniques that made the blue flame pulse stronger in his hands. Each lesson was grueling, and every mistake filled Hairo with frustration, but also determination. He felt the fire responding to his emotions, stronger when his fear and hope intertwined, more focused when his mind was calm. By nightfall, Hairo's confidence had grown. He realized that mastery was not about strength alone, but about understanding and embracing his feelings. Courage, fear, hope, and determination, they were all part of the same power. As shadows lingered in the distance, Hairo felt a deeper connection to his destiny. The journey ahead would be perilous, but he was no longer merely a boy, he was becoming a warrior. Night fell over Arkanos, wrapping the city in thick, suffocating fog. Hairo's heart pounded as Kael led him to a secluded training ground, surrounded by remnants of past battles. The air was heavy with tension, each shadow seeming alive and threatening. Anxiety gnawed at him, yet excitement flickered alongside his fear. Kael spoke calmly. "Tonight, you face your first true test. The shadows will challenge not only your strength, but your mind and heart." Hairo nodded, chest tight with both anticipation and dread. As the first wave of shadows emerged, his fear surged. Each step forward was a battle against panic, each swing of the blade a fight for control. Memories of the city's innocent victims fueled his determination, intertwining with a fierce hope to protect them. The shadows attacked relentlessly, yet Hairo felt the blue flame respond, pulsing with his heartbeat. He swung with precision, blending fear, courage, and focus into every movement. Slowly, one by one, the shadows dissolved into sparks. By dawn, Hairo stood exhausted but triumphant. A sense of pride and relief mingled with lingering fear, reminding him that every victory carried new responsibility. He realized that strength was born not only from power but from the mastery of one's emotions. His journey was far from over, but he had taken a decisive step toward becoming Arkanos' true protector. The fog thickened as Hairo and Kael approached the city's heart, where the shadow's presence was strongest. Fear churned in Hairo's stomach, a deep, gnawing dread that made each step feel heavier. Yet beneath it, a fiery determination blazed. He had survived trials before, but this felt different, closer to the core of the threat. Control your fear, Kael instructed. The closer you get, the stronger they feed on doubt. Hairo nodded, chest tight, emotions swirling. As they entered the ruined square, shadows surged from every corner, more powerful and intelligent than ever. Panic threatened to overtake him, but he drew on every lesson, every heartbeat, every flicker of hope he had nurtured. The blue flame pulsed stronger, reacting to his courage and resolve. Each swing of the sword was deliberate, a fusion of fear and confidence, uncertainty and determination. The shadows faltered, shattered, retreating into the fog. Exhaustion, triumph, and relief washed over Hairo. But a new awareness settled in this was only the beginning. The true darkness lay ahead, and he must embrace every emotion within him to confront it. The city's heart trembled under the growing shadows as Hairo and Kael approached the central square. His chest pounded with fear and anticipation, each step echoing the weight of destiny pressing down. He was no longer a boy, unsure of his power. He was a warrior, yet doubt and tension still lingered. A colossal shadow, darker and more menacing than any he had faced, emerged from the mist. Its eyes burned like black fire, and the city seemed to shudder at its presence. Terror surged, a visceral punch to his chest, but hope and courage flared in response. Hairo gripped his sword tighter, feeling the blue flame pulse with his heartbeat. Every swing, every strike, was a dance between fear and bravery, doubt and determination. Sparks flew as the shadow roared and countered, each clash sending shockwaves through Hairo's soul. Sweat and exhaustion blurred his vision, yet he pushed forward, channeling every emotion into strength. Step by step, he turned fear into power, despair into focus, until finally, the colossal shadow shattered into thousands of glowing fragments, fading into the fog. Breathless, Hairo felt triumph, relief, and pride swell within him. The weight of destiny had been carried one step further, and the city's hope rested in his hands. His journey was nearly complete, but the final truth awaited one last test that would define both his heart and the fate of Arkanos. The first light of dawn broke through the lingering fog over Arkanos, painting the city in soft gold. Hairo stood in the central square, exhaustion heavy in his limbs, yet a surge of pride and hope filled his chest. The colossal shadow had been defeated, yet he knew the journey had tested more than his strength, it had tested his heart. Rin and Kael approached, smiles of relief and pride on their faces. "You've grown beyond what we imagined," Kael said. Hairo felt warmth and validation, mixed with lingering adrenaline. He realized that every fear, every doubt, every moment of hesitation had led him to this point. They were not weaknesses, they were his strength. As the city began to stir, people emerged cautiously, their eyes reflecting awe and gratitude. Hairo raised the blue blade, its light shimmering across the broken streets. The shadows were gone, but the lessons remained. Courage, hope, and the ability to embrace one's emotions could conquer even the darkest force. Joy, relief, and determination surged together, a wave of emotion that cemented his place as the true protector of Arkanos. For the first time, Hairo smiled freely, feeling the weight of destiny lift, replaced by the warmth of victory and the certainty that the city's future was bright. He had faced darkness and emerged stronger, a beacon of hope shining for all.